All right, all right, all right. 1, 2, mic check. Seems like to work. Okay, hi Mette.
Hello, Francesco.
So for those of you at home and for few of you here in the room with us tonight, we are having a takeover with Another Name, which is a booking agency and label from Copenhagen. And Mette is one of the main figures behind Another Name, been part of it, I think, since the beginning, right?
Yeah, almost.
Perfect. So yeah, for the next hour, we're gonna go with a little talk, hour, maybe 40 minutes or so. Then if you have some questions, obviously you can ask with Mette and talk a bit about the agency, the history of the agency, what is it today, future plans, maybe a little bit about how it is to run an agency, which I think is probably very interesting for people that are somewhat on the sidelines of this industry, but are interested in it. And listen to some music as well from the artist on the label and agency. And
Yeah.
What do you think?
Sounds like a good plan.
Perfect. So maybe we should start a little bit of introduction. People know me probably already, but yeah, I'm Francesco. I run Radio Panini with some friends, and yeah, occasionally I'm behind the camera and also doing these quick interviews.
Yeah, and to introduce myself, my name is Mette Hauge, and I'm a booking agent in Another Name, which is a local booking agency here in Copenhagen. I also live and work here. To start with, I can maybe also start with saying what a booking agency actually is. I'm not 100% sure everyone knows what a booking agency is. A booking agency is an agency that are representing and promoting artists, normally within a specific music genre. And a booking agent, their role is to basically handle everything that is related to a booking process for musicians and DJs. And this can be, for instance, negotiating contracts, negotiating the booking fee, but also handle logistics, everything that is related to travels. For instance, when you get booked abroad, to make sure you find the right flight tickets and get a good accommodation, but also everything that is related to the booking itself, to make sure that it goes smoothly. Yeah,
so there is a part of help and management of the artist and their career, and a part of also promotion, I guess, right?
Yeah, so the other part is, of course, the promotion part, that we help promote the DJs, but we also help support them in their career, maybe to direct them in the right direction, also help them with creating the right network in the right market that is related to their specific genre.
Okay, and I guess this is kind of like a lot of work for one person only. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about the history of Another Name and who's behind it, the team behind it, and the different people that how you work together.
Yeah, so at the moment I co-run the agency together with a girl called Indra. She's my partner in the agency, but when we started the agency, it was actually...
Bit closer.
Yeah, okay, it was... so the agency actually started as the official booking agency for the club called Ved Siden Af. And that was Sebastian, who was the owner of the club at that time, and he and his friends Rasmus and Jeppe, and then also Indra, who started the agency at that time. I joined the agency a little later, But it began back in 2019 when Ved Siden Af was kind of getting well known somehow.
At its peak, maybe.
Yeah, maybe at its peak. And in general, the Copenhagen club music scene and electronic music scene was getting known abroad, internationally, and Sebastian wanted to use the momentum that it had at that time to also push those artists that were playing at the club to get international gigs. So yeah, basically that was the point of it. And also maybe also promote Ved Siden Af as a brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously.
I mean, like, it's also a period, like, still is, but like, a lot of cool DJs coming out of Copenhagen scene, and especially Ved Siden Af, right? So probably right time to start an agency, yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of artists do you represent, and what is the kind of profile you focus on, if there is one?
Yeah, well, I think back in the days we were a bit naive and thought that we could just have everyone who was playing at the club, that we could represent them and push them internationally. But we quickly realized that it's not that easy to actually push DJs. Just because they were playing at the club didn't mean that they were also getting booked internationally. So from there on, we probably became a little bit more picky about what DJs we had to rearrange some things and maybe pick some DJs that we really believed had the quality and maybe also the profile to be pushed internationally. So that was a process that we had to go through to figure out, which DJ we should represent.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, I guess like the way I see it, like a DJ must be somewhat marketable, right, abroad, in order to actually make sense to have an agency, because obviously an agency, like I guess it works like with taking cuts of the fee that the agent, the DJ commands to the club, so it needs to be somewhat marketable, especially internationally, right?
Yeah, they need to get at least some bookings in order for us to even be able to take a percentage of that fee. So we get normally 15% of an artist fee when they get booked. And then there's also the whole thing about, can you take a fee for, when they play for friends of friends and things like that.
When it's inbound, so it's their own work.
Exactly. That's kind of a balance you need to.
Yeah, it must be tricky.
So
find. Just to recap a little, definitely an agent is for someone that, like, for a DJ, for a profile that has somewhat already of traction in the market and in the industry, right?
I can go into details about how we choose our DJs, but I don't know if it's so relevant, but I can do that,
Up to you.
At least the ones that we have on our agency now is someone that, like the one I have on my roster, for instance, are someone that I really believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, also need to really like their music a lot. I need to believe that they are talented DJs and producers if they're producing music. But they also need to have some kind of really passion for the music, that they really want to focus on having that as a career path. And maybe also understanding that you have to let some of, like, it can be difficult to have a full-time job next to it. Not to say that you can't, but it's something you have to understand, that you also have to invest a lot of time. Yeah,
there's some sort of commitment. So
the DJ also has to really work on their network and work a lot themselves to create, make themselves more accessible and relevant, you can say. So a lot of DJs, I think that just by joining an agency, you can get more bookings.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of hard work for the DJs themselves. It's something that we can, of course, work on together. But I think it's a combination of, when I have a DJ on my roster, is a combination of something that I really believe in, and then also some skills that they, of course, have. And a passion for, really wanted it to make it a career.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
maybe this is a bit of a personal question, but like, when did you realize like that being an agent maybe was the right path for you, and when did you get interested into it?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So my own personal experience here was that I, of course, have a big passion for electronic music. I've been listening to house and techno since my teenage time. Been partying a lot, so I kind of I knew a lot of people. I didn't join the agency. I joined the agency after I returned from the States. I lived in America for 3 years, and when I was in America, I started organizing techno parties in San Francisco.
Okay.
So in that way, I got kind of a little bit into understanding how the music industry worked and how the whole booking process. I got some experience from that for promoting parties. So I had contact with booking agents through that. Oh. But then when I returned, I realized that I didn't want to throw parties anymore. I felt I was maybe also a bit too old to stay up very late always. Yeah. But I was still very interested in understanding more about the music industry. So basically I knew Sebastian from back in the days. We partied together, and when I heard that he had started this agency, I asked him if I could join. And he was interested in the experience that I had from the States, of course, and the large network I had already. So I also knew some DJs already that I wanted to sign on the agency. So already there, it was a good beginning. And they already had some experiences. They had a good network with other clubs already. Yeah. They had some of the booking processes already established, and so it was a good way for me to join. And I'm very happy that I did. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can resonate with that. Like, it has something similar to my story. I was like started partying and did it for like partying and DJ. I was also that side. Then slowly became a promoter, like small gigs, in Copenhagen mostly, and then I knew like Panini was a thing, but then we just like decided to pull it out together, and like because I was interested in like giving something back to the scene and not just like having like this like personal achievement, you know. It was like something like to facilitate also other success for other people. And
for sure.
So definitely hear that. And also like, why do we do it during the day? Well, first because it's a radio, and then second because it's just nice not to have to, you know, never sleep, and
Exactly.
So, totally get it. Maybe we should talk a little bit about. So you also have a label.
Yeah, I should maybe also just make a little disclaimer before we continue. So I've been a booking agent for around 4 years now, and I know that there are other people out there who have been working in the industry for many more years and have a lot more experience. So whatever I say here, of course, is from my personal experience about running an agency, and maybe people do it differently here in Copenhagen or in other countries, for sure. So
I mean, I guess there is
just to say that.
Very different models, right, of running an agency, and like also like it sounds like Another Name. Just to reiterate, it is quite like community centric, right? It's like you focus on local artists and particularly artists coming from a specific club. So I guess it's like there's many different ways. There is the agency, I guess they focus more on like more international profiles, like across countries. And so
we decided to focus on local talents, and it's maybe also important to say that the DJs and artists that we have on our agency are more upcoming. They were not at least super established when we started the agency. So the work and the process around building up an artist like that is of course different than if you sign someone who's already really well known and have a lot of international bookings.
Totally. And I guess this also requires quite a lot of different processes and like in general strategy and like what you actually do as an agency, right?
Yeah.
It's more promotion and less and career building and less just less management of like practical management of like gigs, the ins and outs, like, you know, you need to travel. Just saying for the people out there, you know very well, but when you travel maybe like 2-3 days a week across countries, and you have like very, very weird timelines. So you wake up at like 5-6 in the morning, and then you travel for a few hours, and then you land in a new city, and you meet the promoter, and you go to a club and do sound check, and then maybe you play at 3 in the morning, and then do it again like maybe 2-3 times a week. That's why you need an agency sometimes, if you are very well established.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess. But that was not the case mostly with you, at least when we started.
When we started, they did have a few international bookings, but now some of them get many gigs, and we do also organize tours, for instance, to Asia tours, and have to take care of all the logistics there. So that has been a challenge and a learning process as well, of course.
Absolutely.
Haven't done it that much. I think Indra has a lot more experience than I have there, but still it's super interesting and super nice when you get it all worked out and all the travel schedules and things worked out. So
it's very interesting. I think it's a very interesting line of work, and that's why we have you here. But yeah, so shall we go back to the label? What do you think?
Yeah, we can talk about the label again. I can maybe say a little bit about why we started the label. I think it goes a little bit hand in hand in the fact that Ved Siden Af again now was a well-established club, and we now had the agency. We also wanted to have a label as well. It's a way of building up
an ecosystem,
a system and a brand. And an important point here is also that it was we got hit by the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, so
and at that time it was of course challenging for us since our DJs were not getting bookings. So we had to think about other things to keep our DJs relevant and
yourself busy.
And ourselves busy. And suddenly we had a lot of time on our hands. And this idea about a label sounded really cool, and we decided to try and see if we could push our artists in that way.
Yeah. Also because obviously many of your artists are also producers and not only DJs, right? So
exactly.
It's good to give them an output and
exactly.
Put the things together. Makes sense. And where is the label now? What shall we maybe listen to some of the tracks? What do you think?
Yeah, so we have 3 releases, and this was done together with Ved Siden Af.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one I could maybe talk about. So the first one we did was a physical release, so a real record. And we didn't really have any experience about making physical releases, but we found a pressing plant which was kind of not so well known, and they were able to release our music within a reasonable time.
Because around that time there was also all the problem of like now I think it's getting better, but like there was a resurgence in records, record sales, and people like releasing records. So like there was a period around the COVID, I think, that where like it was taking like over a year or 2 years to actually release a record, because there was simply not enough capacity in the industry to actually produce them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you need to find the secret hacks that have availability to take in more work and press more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we were lucky that we were able to release it quite fast, and also during COVID. So we also made like a nice little release reception, and it was a lot of fun. It was like an outdoor event, and I remember it as being like a really cool community little event that we did. Also a good way to promote our DJs and create our new network.
In that time, like there was a lot of ambient going on. Everyone was turning to ambient and more like soft music. Did you do the same, or was it?
No, I would say that this
full on club.
we decided that the music that we were going to release were something that was still going to represent the club and was going to be club music. So we decided on some tracks that was really like bangers and like some really like just fast and hard music, but also a little bit melodic. So
classic Copenhagen techno and trance. Like there's this
exactly.
this like nostalgia feeling to it. Often.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. What do you think? Should we listen to something so we take also a little break?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have something down there? Yeah.
Can you maybe put this one on, or should we do it on?
You can do it from here if you want.
Yeah, okay. Can you do it?
This one.
Yes. So maybe I should say a little bit about the track first. It is
good idea.
Produced by Hollow, which is one of our DJs in the agency. And Hollow is gonna make a DJ set afterwards here today, so please hang on and you can hear more of his music. This is one of his former and earlier releases, and a lot have happened since, but I think it's still one of my favorite tracks. I really enjoy it. It has, it's like a whole journey. It has different moods and tempos, so perfect. I hope you will enjoy it.
And sorry, I forgot to mention actually that we have a takeover for the next 3 hours with Another Name, and we have Olo, No One, and Neri J playing for the rest of the night, so stay tuned. Okay, so this is Olo, Sleeping River. All right. So that was Hollow, Sleeping River. And yeah, it's playing right after the talk, right? It's
Exactly.
The next art is playing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, we were talking about like there is this element of nostalgia and it's still like very driving and really like, yeah.
I think it's a good representation of what was playing at Ved Siden Af at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I really love this release so
It's like
much.
trance, forward trance techno, if it makes sense. There's some
Yeah, it
elements
is very
of both,
trancy,
yeah.
of course.
Okay, should we play another one?
Yeah, I
what do you
wanted
think?
to at least present our other release, just to say a little bit about what we did. So, actually, the next one we did was a compilation. We did it was called "It Ender Still" tribute album, and there we made a whole album. So there is like 2 CDs here, and here we collected tracks from everyone who had played at this previous club called "It Ender Still", which was the club before Ved Siden Af. And this was
Good
also
memories.
Yeah, it was some very good memories for a lot of people in Copenhagen, I think. And it was also such a fun project because we really had to select a lot of different tracks that was not necessarily within the same genre. There was both traditional techno, trance, and house music, and some melodic stuff. And I think it's a really nice album. So please go on Bandcamp and check this out.
Do
if
you
you want
only
to.
have it as physical CD, or you also have the digital files on Bandcamp?
We do have the physical CD also, if someone is interested in that. But we can see that most of the sales goes on our digital
Yeah, makes sense.
platforms. So.
Yeah, not many people play CDs these days.
But here you can actually see some fun pictures of the club back in the days, and in that way I think it's interesting for the people who went to that club back in the days. And then the last release we did was a collaboration with a fashion brand called Fine Chaos, actually. They are also a local fashion brand who uses techno a lot, and that fashion trend that was kind of coming out of that. And I think this release is also really nice. I'm very proud of it also. And I would like to play a track from that release as well. It's from Neri J, and Neri J is also playing after Hollow, so I thought it was a good opportunity to also play one of her tracks.
Very good idea.
Yeah, and it's called With Open Heart.
Okay, let's listen to it.
Delete.
we're...
There was already some new fans here.
Someone liked the track.
Yeah.
Shout out to NRJ. So yeah, we're just chatting that like definitely this reflects period of Copenhagen that maybe now is a little bit on phasing out a little bit. It's still part of the way I see it, like very much part of the...
I wouldn't say it's still there and it's still very popular in our scene, but there is definitely a tendency towards a little bit slower BPM or like lower BPM. However, I think it's still like an underground genre that we have here in Copenhagen that represent us somehow.
The fast techno scene from Copenhagen. I think the Resident Advisor labeled it like that at some point.
Back in the days.
Yeah. But yeah, no, very, very nice track. Looking forward to see like what we're gonna listen to later. If it's gonna be like on the same like stamp, or if it's gonna be maybe a little bit slower, and let's see.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
All right. So I guess that was the second track. Maybe we're playing one more later. Let's see if we have some time. But for now, I actually wanted to ask you a little bit about like, so where are you today? What changed from compared to like now? You said like you started in 2019. So now it's like 5 years.
Exactly.
It's a big milestone. And then
we had a 5-year birthday recently. So that was a big event. I think today we run the agency a little bit differently, and for instance, we are now an independent agency, so we are not a part of Ved Siden Af or Den Anden Side anymore. So we used to be connected to the club, and I think it was simply because we kind of outgrew it somehow. And me and Indra wanted to see if we were able to run it by ourselves and not be influenced on what was happening in the club all the time. Yeah. So now we run it by ourselves, and it was also for me personally a challenge to see if I could figure out how to run an agency all by myself. So, or like we could do it together. So it's been really nice.
All right.
And then we also cut down in a number of artists. So right now we have 12 artists on the agency. So we have Hollow, Neri J, and No One, who's playing tonight. We have Maitrak, we have DJ Ibon, and we have the DJ duo Klitz. Yeah. Then we have...
They live in Berlin, though, right?
Who lives in Berlin, yeah. But have been playing here in Copenhagen a lot. Yeah. On my roster we have Lucky Loop and James Lotion, Fruit DJ, Any Girl, and
Okay. A lot of names to remember. So if Mette forgot someone, please give her a break. And a lot of friends of the house, like almost all of them played here before.
Yeah. Sorry, Frederik Tollund and Selma.
Oh, of course,
also,
Freddie and Selma.
Yeah.
Group therapy crew.
So, but actually, we also decided to actually maybe cut down even more on the amount of people that we have in our agency.
Right.
And the other thing is that we are not doing so much label work anymore. It's of course something we would like to do in the future, but since our DJs also got more bookings and after Corona, we just didn't have time.
No.
But it's of course still something we would like to work on.
But you're still producing, most of them, or?
There's a lot of them that are producing, and we are of course also helping them promote their productions on other labels and things like that. So most of our times go with handling bookings actually, and then we are working on exchanges. So we have 2 exchanges coming up now. Our DJs are gonna play at Folk Club in London here next month, and we also have a collaboration with a club in Tbilisi in Georgia.
Yeah.
So
Is it Tess?
Test Club, yeah. So that is also an ongoing collaboration. We have them coming to Copenhagen here in December, hopefully, and then we are going to Tbilisi also to play there. We also have agency nights to try and promote our DJs at the club, and yeah, mostly trying to work on our network and how to promote our DJs.
Yeah, create new opportunities, I guess. Very interesting, very interesting. So we kind of reaching, like, we have obviously a little plan of what we want to talk about today. Kind of reaching the end of the conversation. You already touched a little bit upon about the future plans. One thing that maybe we could talk a little bit more about is, so we have two ways we could go. We could say, like, the value of having an agent as a DJ, if you want to put yourself in the on the DJ shoes.
Yeah.
The other one could be like, what are the most important aspects to consider when launching an agency? Let's say that there is someone out there that is actually curious about, maybe want to start an agency, which, by the way, I think there is need in Copenhagen. There's a lot of talented artists, and you guys cannot do. There is not many agencies. There is you. There is Fast Forward that I know of, at least of a certain level, of a certain profile. So I guess there is need for some agencies to help some up and coming talents to arise. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that. Give some tips.
Absolutely. First of all, you're right. There is a lot of talent in Copenhagen, and it's also a pity that we are not able to represent all of them. I think if you want to start a booking agency and run a booking agency, you really need to have some DJs on your roster that you really believe in, and that you think can be booked internationally.
Yeah.
You asked me about, like, how do you run economically and things like that. It is really difficult. Like, most of the time, me and Indra have had jobs next to, in order to get enough money to pay our bills. And even though it's one of our biggest passions, we simply didn't generate enough money to support ourselves. I think there you would really have to have DJs that are playing out every weekend, maybe both Friday and Saturday somewhere in clubs abroad. Yeah. The other thing is also this balance. You say, like, if they play here in Copenhagen, when are you getting the fee? If they're playing for some friends, you cannot really take the fee. So if you're thinking about starting an agency and be rich, this is not the way to do it.
Which speaks a lot about the passion that you put into it, like also our job. Like, there is often not many money involved, and there is quite a lot of in our industry, quite a lot of assistentialism, a lot of help from the government and from public funding or private funding. But so it speaks a lot about, like, you trying to make it sustainable for yourself, but still.
You should do it if you think it's fun and you want to get to know the music industry and to understand how this works. This is a great way to try and understand the music industry, and maybe also make some decisions further in your career about where to go later on. But you shouldn't do it for the money, I would say. You should do it for the fun and for the passion for the music and for the community feeling. Of course, you make friends along the way. You make friends with the DJs that you represent. It becomes a big part of you to be a part of this community. So that's why I've been doing it for so long.
You could say for legacy and for, like, also pushing something you believe in. Like, part of our community is it's a lot of fun, and makes you also very proud to actually contribute to the development of your own community and your own scene. So I see that. Okay, so we talked also a little bit about future plans. I think we're running almost to the end. Is there anyone else that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we are starting a new project in the agency, which I'm going to focus on in the future, and that is actually to help very early stage DJs to become more well known in Copenhagen. So maybe DJs that doesn't even get booked in the club, some DJs who need help to creating their DJ profile and things like that. I'm gonna help them if they want to. I would like to give some of my knowledge to them and make that my project for the next year or so. So I'm gonna cut down on my booking agency activities and then focus on this new project that we have to help some of the really growing small DJs to maybe join an agency in the future.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you have a container for it? Like, do you have a name for it, or is it like gonna be like some sort of informal and under the radar?
I haven't created the name for it yet.
Okay.
But
we're gonna see more of it out there. You think?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go to our webpage. It's called anothername.eu, and we will promote it there. But we can also follow us on social media. It's also called Another Name Copenhagen. And we will, here at 1st of October, probably, we will announce some big news there about this new project and how we're going to run the agency in the future.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Mette. So I'll just try it out here. There is not many people in the room, and I don't really have the opportunity to actually check from home. Maybe we should have said at the beginning that if you had questions, you could write them in the chat. We have a chat on our website, also on YouTube. But I forgot about that, so I'll just ask the people in the room, is there any questions, anything you would like to, are you curious about something, or? You come here. All right.
Yeah.
The question for people at home was like, how many people do you have in the agency right now?
So we have 12 artists in. Oh, we are 2 people working. Yeah. Okay. We are 2 people. We had some people coming in and out who helped us with different things. So we had another agent, Aaron, at some point. We also had someone who helped us with social media at some point. I think in general it would be nice to have someone to help you with things like social media and other things, because it's difficult to handle everything yourself. Yeah. So
feel you.
That's a recommendation for sure, but it also has to be someone who could kind of understand our way of working, which were a little bit when me and Inda had time and in the weekends and things like that, which is not so easy to find sometimes.
Totally.
Yeah.
We have another question. Wow, nice. Competitors. Okay, they're asking if what is the relationship with competitors, and like, yeah.
So at the moment we only have one big competitor. We have one other big booking agency in Copenhagen called Fast Forward. I know Anders from back in the days, and we are friends. So actually at the moment I think we have a really good collaboration where we ask each other questions about maybe how do you get a visa to play in the States? Do you know anyone who can help with that? Do you have a good someone to handle your money and things like that? I think we actually exchange knowledge a lot, which I'm very happy about. We also had one episode of like an artist that we were both interested in, and one of them were able to grab her before us, and it was of course a little bit devastating, but that's how it is, and I don't think about it as I'm just happy we can talk about it and have a good and open communication. I think we are very lucky in Denmark and in Copenhagen that we all know each other so well and we collaborate instead of competing.
Also, if I may add one thing, that's maybe my very naive view of it, not working in it. But competition, like as you said earlier, like you as an agency don't really work so much in Copenhagen because exactly for that reason, everybody knows each other, and like if you play in Copenhagen, often you play for friends of friends. So maybe that's not where the agent is useful for. It's more when you work abroad. So I think like actually competitors are actually foreign agencies that have like, because it's an international market you're working with, so not necessarily like, and there is not a lack of talent in Copenhagen, I think, to represent. I mean, there was this instance you said, but I mean, that happens, right?
I think another thing is that the ones that we then have in our agency, we've been very lucky that they've stayed with us. There has been a few who found other agencies, but you also need to just say, okay, good luck on your journey. Yeah. I have really a feeling that the ones that we have is someone that I created a very tight relationship with, and I'm happy that that they are happy with me on whatever level whatever that means. But I think when we talk competition, I think that there is more competition between the clubs actually. So who is booking who in which
because
clubs?
Because you're competing for the same audience, right?
Yeah.
Well,
we have a lot more clubs now in Copenhagen than we used to have, so they are definitely competing, and they're also struggling. Like the music industry is not, it's having a hard time at the moment. We can see it on the bookings. The fees are going down. The clubs, they're going down. They're closing in Berlin and things like that. So it is a little bit of a dark time for the industry actually.
So keep supporting your local club, keep supporting your local artists and DJs. Show up as much as possible. Buy their music, you know. Bandcamp. Yeah. Bandcamp is their friend. Local record shops, Proton Records, shout out, pushing also this music. And I think if you agree, that must be it for us tonight. And we'll just leave the... Oh, there is one more question. We have 2 minutes. Can you come a bit closer? Question is if they focus on specific genres when looking for new DJs, or what kind of profile?
That's a good question. Thank you so much for asking that. Yes and no. I think in our agency we have been focusing on the music that has been playing in the underground clubs in Copenhagen. So mostly like techno and house music that is played in the clubs. I think I could be open for having other genres on the agency. The problem is just that I wouldn't feel I had the network to actually promote them within that genre. That's so I think it's also good for a DJ to actually choose an agent who has a good network within that music genre that they are playing. And that will get you a long way, actually, because they know who to contact, they know what radio stations to reach out to, they maybe know people in the club, people in the industry related to your genre. So yes, we try to book people in genres that we have a good network in. So that's basically
amazing. Very good point. All right, Mette, we close it up because we have some operations to do in the back. And we have 3 more hours of Another Name takeover. And next up is Olo. All right? Yes. Okay, so see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, Mette.
Thank you, Francesco.
Have a good night.